Society views high IQ as a superpower, but in reality, it often feels like a communication glitch. You aren't smarter, you're operating on a different cognitive frequency. It's the blessing that feels like a social tax, leading to a specific type of exhaustion that small talk can't reach. Let's talk about the 8 ways your greatest strength is actually your quietest struggle. Struggle 1. Nobody understands what you're saying. Your brain just works differently. You build complex ideas fast. See 15 steps ahead. Connect dots others don't know exist. Research on cognitive complexity and communication shows that people with high IQs often struggle more with basic communication than people with average intelligence. Not because they're bad communicators, but because they're unconsciously assuming shared frameworks that don't exist. You reference concept A, assuming they'll make the connection to B and C, but they don't see B and C. So your point lands as nonsense. And you're left wondering, am I explaining this wrong, or is there actually no way to bridge this gap? The answer is usually the latter. And that realization is devastating. Struggle 2. You're constantly mentally translating. Every conversation requires you to translate. You think in your natural framework, then convert it to simpler terms, then predict how those terms will be interpreted, then adjust for likely misunderstandings, then deliver the message. Most people just talk. You're running a translation protocol in real time, and it's exhausting. This is why highly intelligent people often seem hesitant or over-careful in conversation. They're not unsure, they're translating. And they've learned from experience that if they don't translate carefully, they'll be misunderstood, which will require even more energy to correct. Psychology research on cognitive load shows that constant translation consumes significant mental resources. You're not just communicating, you're managing a cognitive interface between incompatible systems. Struggle 3. Boredom feels like starvation. Most people experience boredom as mild discomfort. You experience it as cognitive starvation. Your brain is a high-performance engine that needs complex fuel, and most conversations are running on fumes. Routine tasks, painful, predictable conversations, suffocating. Simple explanations, you want to scream. This is where it starts affecting your life, because there's no polite way to say, "This conversation is killing me," without sounding like a jerk. Studies on intelligence and stimulation needs show that highly intelligent individuals require more cognitive complexity to maintain baseline satisfaction. What feels engaging to others feels numbing to you. And it gets worse. Struggle 4. You think too much. People tell you to stop overthinking, but overthinking isn't something you're doing. It's something your brain does automatically. You see implications they don't see, consequences they haven't considered, variables they're ignoring. When someone makes a decision, they consider maybe 3 factors. You're seeing 15, not because you're trying to, but because your pattern recognition won't turn off. And now you're trapped between saying nothing and watching them make a mistake, or explaining all 15 factors and seeming obsessive. Research on intelligence and analysis paralysis shows that high IQ individuals take longer to make decisions not because they're indecisive, but because they're processing more variables. What looks like overthinking is just thinking at the level your brain operates. Struggle 5. Being right pushes people away. You predict things, see patterns, make connections, and you're right. Often. And instead of making people trust you, it makes them avoid you. Because people don't like being told they're wrong, even gently. They don't like having their decisions questioned, even when you're trying to help, and when you turn out to be right after they've ignored you, it doesn't vindicate you. It makes them avoid you. Studies on social dynamics and competence show that being consistently right creates social distance. People prefer being around those who validate their thinking, not those who expose flaws in it. Your accuracy becomes your isolation. Struggle 6. Impostor syndrome hits differently. You're intelligent, the tests confirm it. The results prove it. But you can see your own cognitive processes clearly enough to know how much you don't know, how many mistakes you make, how often you're uncertain. So you live in this paradox. Objectively, high intelligence, subjectively convinced you're faking it. And the smarter you are, the more clearly you can see the gaps in your knowledge, which makes the imposter syndrome worse. Research on the Dunning-Kruger effect shows it works in reverse at high intelligence levels. Less intelligent people overestimate their competence. Highly intelligent people underestimate theirs because they can see complexity others miss. Struggle 7. The loneliness is different. You can have friends, family, a partner, people who love you, and still feel completely alone because they can't see what you see. no matter how carefully you explain, no matter how much they care. This is the part most people never realize. The loneliness isn't about being alone. It's about being the only one in the room who sees things the way you do. You're cognitively singular, every single room you enter. And there's no fix for that. The struggles are real. The gaps are real. And no, you're not imagining it. Some people think simply. You see the whole system. It's not better, not worse, just different, and incredibly lonely. I'll be sharing more videos like this on psychology and self-understanding. Subscribe if this content resonates with you.